Richard and I are a little bit late, but that's okay for all four of our viewers. We're going to be talking about Burger King. We're going to be talking about back to school, and we're going to be talking about movies and COVID. And it's Monday, and I'm Ryan.
And I'm Richard.
Here we go. Hey everyone, we're back. We made it another week. We made it through another week. So, Richard, I see you like posting pictures of the beach, and I forget that you're still off. I know you have a right to be off because of your school schedule, but I forget.
Yeah, sorry about that. 2 more days. Wednesday. We'll be back at it on Wednesday.
Are you excited? Do you have anxiety?
I have a different kind of anxiety, and it's more from the little things that go wrong leading up to school. Wrong's not the right word. Like, I was gonna say we always watch what we say. We have jobs. We don't want anything to get back, and we always want to say things in the right way. So,
hold on, real quick. We have somebody that wants to get in, Shanna.
Yeah, but she doesn't. She just wants to be in the back room.
Oh, so should I let her in?
So she can hear us at the same time. But she doesn't want to be.
Okay, I got
She
you.
doesn't want to be. Yeah, right. I'm assuming she'll. Yeah, I think. Do you understand? Yeah, sorry.
I get it.
She doesn't. But maybe, like, if at some point we say something, she might jump on.
She's like, "Let me in. Let me in."
She might say it. So anyway, so I don't think I'm saying anything wrong. So my work, I apologize if what I'm saying is wrong, and also it would be Monica who told on me. So, like we ordered new screens, new like TVs and screens for some of the classrooms. They're not in yet, and they're not due until Wednesday. And it's one of those things like, all right, if they come on time, we have a really short time to get them up and working because then we have off till next Wednesday. So it's just like, that's something we thought would be done. Teachers learning, how to use this new kind of thing. And then, every year there's a new technology, a new thing. So it's just a little bit about just all these little things like, you can prepare all you want all summer. And these little headaches are going to happen. As I'm sure in the banquet world, the amount of times that you'll over the next few weeks and months have different little like, we had everything, but the food wasn't quite ready. Or, the bartender called out. So
it's so funny because like to add to what you just said. So when we were opening the hotel, and I keep telling everybody like, some days it feels like, and then here we go. It's like, if somebody from I work with, they're going to hear it and be like, hey, so we heard your podcast yesterday. Anyway, but I think they would agree. Like, anytime I've taken a job in my career, 32 years on this planet, being, 12 plus years in the industry, I am entering an establishment that is established. Some days, the last few weeks, I feel like I'm just literally spinning around in circles because it's like, I've never had to open a place. You know what I mean? Like, I entered an establishment where you take your experience, you follow protocols, you bring what you can to the table. But in this particular situation, and, our one of the area directors was saying when he was there 2 weeks ago when we were preparing to open, I was just amazed and very impressed for as accomplished as he is and the job that he has. He's still like, guys, salt and pepper shakers, ketchup, mustard. What do you? And I'm like, it's like the little things where you're like, yeah, like I forgot about that.
Now the amount of times we've rolled up to a comic book show and I do this silly thing every single show where Wednesday night or Thursday, I'll text David and Shannon and be like, what am I forgetting? and you know what they write back? We don't know what you're forgetting, and then I'll create a huge list and I'll be like, look at all these things, am I forgetting something? And they'll look at that list and they'll be like, yeah, I don't see anything. And then we'll be at the show and I'll be like, oh, hey, can I have the tape? And I'll be like, that's what I'm forgetting.
See, that's what I'm talking about, guys.
Right. Like, we have, you've seen our racks where we put our expensive books behind our stand.
Yeah.
You need 2 racks, 2 red racks, So 4 racks have to get packed every time. And we got to Connecticut a couple weeks ago and there were only 3 racks. And, and again, that's if we didn't have Shanna with us, David and I probably would have tried to MacGyver something.
Right.
But it would have been horrible. Whereas Shanna has that, technical brain, so she was able to actually what she created is now what we're doing. We're only ever bringing 3 racks to 3 things. So
it's like the Zach Galifianakis thing, right?
Right, where
With
she
the
just
triangle and the
yep, she just
mathematics.
looked and boom, 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 and it was funny. We drove it over to Home Depot, and I was like, we were driving over there, and I was like, hey, when we, I was like, listen, when we go in there, kid, like, do you have a plan? I was like, otherwise, we'll just go back because I don't want to go to Home Depot, and she's screaming like, I don't know what to do, but she's like, I've got it, and she went in and she went, yeah, just like that in the movie where you see them running their numbers,
the brain working, yeah,
the brain working. So, so yeah, that was my segue.
No,
to telling you about what's in the news.
Yes. Wait. Hold on. Here we go.
I do.
Sorry about that. I cut you off with your own intro.
No. I was saying I like small talk opening because it gives us time to share and post some things that we can share.
Yeah.
So in the news, and Ryan made this one of Oppenheimer news stories. We had a top 5 this week, and I'm only going to say the name of this title once, so don't
Not
say it.
Time. Yeah.
Don't say it. Don't. I think it's 5 times. Don't mess.
I think it's 5. Yeah.
Yeah, it is 5. All right, and I think you have to say it into a mirror. But I don't know how cameras work. But the number 1 movie was Candyman, and it was the reimagining. Where they took the original concept and just kind of, 2021'd it up and made it a little cooler, a little darker. Made 22 million. Free Guy was in second with 13 million. Paw Patrol with 6 million. Jungle Cruise with 5 million, and Don't Breathe with 2.8 million. So we are at the end of the summer, and yeah, I don't know. Shang-Chi is coming out on Friday, so it will be September when it comes out, and we will see how that performs. There is a lot. I don't want to say a lot rests on this. I think the movie will be fine. I think Marvel will be fine, no matter how this does.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of stuff. There's going to be issues with if it underperforms because it's a Chinese character. Ant-Man is that template we use. Ant-Man did well. So that's kind of the goal, is to get Ant-Man numbers. So hopefully, and again, hopefully that's what happens. Though there is a little, and I thought this was, I do need to, I know you've made all of the, all of the graphics and stuff. I kind of want to figure out a different thing than called news, because this just winds up being me kind of giving my opinion on the news so it's just called Richer Comments, because I struggle with that, I'm just supposed to report what's happening, but I always give my opinion. So
That's good.
Earlier in the week, Ryan did post about Shang-Chi has a little controversy, a little backlash. One of the probably the most well-known stars in the movie, Awkwafina, has come under a lot of fire because a lot of people accuse her of doing a black scent. And it's one of those things. I've known who Awkwafina was before other people knew she was. My obsession with YouTube, and she was, she used to do a little talk show out of her grandmother's either laundromat or so.
Yeah. It's like this. I feel like this movie has been plagued by excuse me, I'm just going to say it, random controversy, random topics. I just plagued from day one, literally.
Talk some more about it, and I'll come back.
Wait, did you get cut off? Oh, I guess I cut Richard off again. That's my fault. I'm sorry. Sometimes when I play the audio, it messes Richard up. Sometimes it doesn't. Like last week, I thought he was a robot, but he wasn't. So I was just saying how I accidentally cut you off, and it's I don't know what works and don't know what doesn't. So
yeah.
So like Tim said, screen sharing puts the echo in. So I don't know. Maybe we'll figure that out at one point.
One of these days we should figure this out. Maybe in the fall when things slow down.
Yeah.
We should do an in-person show. Maybe commemorate or maybe our 50th show will be in person. But yeah, because it should not feel like it should throw me off like that. So, because again, we're trying to use that technology of I can show video of what Richard's talking about. So Awkwafina is. So what I was saying earlier was I've only known her, and that's how she talks. And so if someone comes out with a story tomorrow that oh, listen, she grew up in South Jersey. She went to this really wealthy private school, and she's just doing a voice for effect. Well, okay, then but I think that she's just a kid from New York who kind of talks like that. So again, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but I want to see more information because I think that's just how she is. It's actually why a lot of people don't like her, because she is so over and extra.
She was the dragon in Raya, wasn't she?
Right. Yeah. And and again, and that's the idea. She will not do an Asian voice. Like, she will not do, a stereotypical Asian voice at any point. But I think she just talks how she talks. So good luck, Shang-Chi. As always, we talk about movies and COVID, and we'll be talking about that more. So hopefully enough people go out and support it, because I do not believe I can see this for $30 on Disney Plus.
No, and I'm just going to say one thing, because and this goes back to what I said, where you and I were talking about it, like the day the trailer dropped, it was instantly like Sumu Lee or Lu.
Right. Yeah, instantly did something, right.
It was like Twitter, and now with like Shang-Chi, Bob Chapek was like, yeah, we're going to have to figure it out, so Shang-Chi will be the experiment, right?
Yeah.
And then he claps back, we're not an experiment. And in my head, I'm like, dude, I don't think that's what he meant. Like,
right.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think that's what he meant. I think he just said we need to figure out revenue streams and how to make that work.
So, speaking of big Disney movies, Lion King is doing a prequel to they're doing a prequel to the Lion King about Mufasa and I guess Scar and when they were younger, and kind of the backstory probably of how Mufasa became king. It will be live action. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure it will be.
It will be live action. I believe Favreau is back.
Okay, so
yeah,
he did have that touch. I didn't hate the last. I mean, I know that we always say this each week. There's the people who just don't like change.
Yeah.
But I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. I did too.
So we'll see. Prequels are always a funny thing. I don't think they're going to get as much trouble as Star Wars had, because, it's Mufasa. Again, I don't think they're going to be like, Mufasa used to sell, drugs. And they got no, there's no weird thing, Mufasa, again, listen, they can do anything. They can give them a third brother, and maybe he was the bad guy, and then Scar. And again, I think that's what we'll see. We'll see probably Scar as a likable character. So,
yeah, that's what I said. I was thinking exactly what you said, because that's often what happens. If we see somebody and they're like strong and poised and everybody loves them and the people love them, it's like, but in their youth, they were selling drugs out the side of their car.
No, I was going to say, or Mufasa's a geek and Scar's confident. Yeah, something's going to happen. We'll see. So speaking of Twitter, as we often do, so I cannot believe I don't know how to say this name.
Sha'Carri Richardson.
Sha'Carri Richardson, who was in the news a couple months ago because she tested positive for marijuana, and even though she was the fastest 100-meter runner, she was not able to go to the Olympics. And Allison Felix, who is the winningest track athlete of all time, for medals, was on Jimmy Kimmel earlier, and she kind of said, hey, I really she basically said only positive things about Richardson, and just like wishing her the best, and thinks it sucks that happened to her. And then Richardson decided to do an Instagram post basically saying, I'm paraphrasing, your words are meaningless when they're said on TV.
Right, yeah.
Probably alluding to the fact that Felix maybe never reached out to her. It is always fascinating, Richard side note, when you watch track, because you just assume, they're all part of a team. But no, it's just a business for them, and every single person on your team is competition. So they're not necessarily the closest, all the time.
Right.
But, the headline is, Twitter erupted, and Twitter was very upset with Miss Richardson, because 2 months ago when she had a positive drug test, Twitter went to bat for her. Twitter was like, no.
Yeah. I remember, yeah.
Yeah, she should go. People smoke pot. Who cares? So then they were like, "Hey, you do not talk to Allison Felix like that." So
it was just like that. The tweets.
Just like that. So, all right, we're gonna push our sadness into the middle of the news so that we can so we don't have a weird transition. But Ed Asner passed away yesterday. Yep, at the age of 91. Of course, those of us over 40 know Ed Asner as Luke Grant from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and the newer generations will know him as Santa from Elf or the voice of the old man from Up. I think it's Carl.
Yeah,
Have never seen Up. I made
me
it.
either.
I've made it until the spoilers, up until his wife dies at the beginning. So I make it like 7 minutes and up. I'm like, nope. That was like the saddest thing I've ever seen.
Too sad ever.
I'm done. I turned it off. I was like, where? It can't go. Sorry, no pun. Can't go up from here. But apparently that was the whole point of the movie. But Ed Asner has done a ton of things. You know, you've seen him in a million things. One of my friends who does comic book shows and runs comic book shows and has had him at the show as a guest had a funny tweet yesterday where he's like, I'll never forget when I first met Ed Asner, and I was like, oh, I loved you as the voice of Santa Claus. And he was like, what movie? He goes, I've been Santa Claus like 20 times, dude. You're going to have to do better than that. So, but again, 91. And he is, this now means Betty White is the last of the main cast of Mary Tyler Moore. So she, you know, some people say maybe she was absorbing, she's the last of the Golden Girls. She's the last of the Mary Tyler Moore Show. So, you know, she's doing, you know, the one thing is we haven't seen Betty in a while. So yeah, I'm assuming she's well, but I think she's just not in a place to be on stage.
Right.
Also, a couple of days ago, it was the 1 year anniversary or remembrance of Chadwick Boseman's passing. I really, all weekend, wanted to kind of like Saturday or Sunday, wanted to kind of pop on Oppenheimer and do like a live, just like me talking. I was like, but I'm going to start crying. I was thinking like, it's still like, can't believe it's been a year. It sticks with you how impactful it was. I think I've got a little Black Panther.
Oh yeah, man.
Black Panther hanging out with me. But yeah, I just, you know, I'll be selfish. I just remember a year ago, just, it's got to be a joke. There's got to be something. There's got, you know, kind of like when Kobe passed, like, oh, maybe they got it wrong. But with Chat, you know, where others got crushed by Kobe, Chadwick, like, just crushed me. That was like, yep, nope, that shouldn't happen. So a year later, we remember him, and we will, you know, again, I really do think that Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, the success of Black Panther, a large part to him, is why we're able to have a whole half an hour of like, hey, let's talk about all the movies coming out, because we can make movies. Like, you're not making a Shang-Chi before Black Panther kicks butt like that.
Yeah,
you know, it does so well. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So remembering Chadwick Boseman. All right, now on to some, I think this is kind of a first for us, real sports story, an actual real sports story for us, okay? So I don't know if anyone has seen, but the New York Mets made news this weekend, or mainly yesterday. So they haven't been great in a while. For about a month now, they've been on like a major losing streak. They came out of first place. They're 6 games below 500. They're just not doing well. And New York fans have been booing. We talk all the time on our shows about the mental health of people. You know, and again, we're even trying to be open-minded, be like, yeah, we don't just crap on. It's very, very common to see out in the world, like, oh, they make $1 million, get over it. Oh, you know, who gives a crap?
Villainizing.
You know? Who cares about Britney Spears? She's a millionaire. Like, nope. So I've always been very sympathetic and open-minded when a player is suffering. I'm not a big fan of booing. I will not lie. If I'm sitting at a Phillies game and the crowd boos, I kind of do it just, I'm very like fall in the line. Like, and I'm also probably scared. And again, Philly is often considered one of the toughest places to play for that reason. But New York, they've been booing their fans. So a couple of the Mets players have made a decision, and they shared it publicly. It wasn't even like it was a misunderstanding or a leaked something. They said it publicly that from now on, when they get a hit or they hit a home run or they do anything good, when they get on base, they're going to boo the fans. So the fans boo them when they do bad. So now when they do good, they're going to boo the fans. It hurt my head. I'm like, I've never, you know, you're entitled to be upset. Like, hey, don't boo us. We're human beings. Like, say what you want, you know, like, yeah, oh, I don't love booing. But now that you've turned and you're going to boo, again, this is a very stereotypical thing to say. You are booing the people that pay your salary. Like, you are going boo to the right. Like, it's. Good luck with that, basically.
I've always actually been extremely impressed at professional athletes' abilities to, you see it. I'm sure you've seen it watching baseball. There's nowhere to hide, right? You get to first
Yeah,
base
right,
and
right.
whatever, and they just, do the, what I mean? Like, all right, this is my job. These are the fans. They're upset. Like, they don't acknowledge it. I've always been very impressed at that discipline and the ability, and yeah, like you said, it's hard to get your head around it. It's different times. I don't know. It's yeah.
So I thought that was worthy of our podcast. So,
Yeah.
somebody turning again, like, but this is always makes the news. Like when Alec Baldwin will have his outbursts where he attacks the paparazzi, or people go nuts. I'm actually, and then everyone complains, "Oh, get over it." But I'm more sympathetic to that. This, booing the fans. It's like coming out of the Shang-Chi premiere and the actors like booing the people on the red carpet, going, "You didn't like our movie." Like, it's just not a thing. Okay, so this cracked me up because Shanna did actually. I was going to say, Shanna, text us if you want to come on to talk about this, because Shanna's the one who filled me on about this. The baby on the cover of Nirvana's Nevermind is suing Nirvana. Okay, all right. Like, I was going to say, these are two. I should have prefaced this with Ryan and Richard work really hard and always being open-minded, but I was like, all right, I really need to read about this because I do not want to, mess with this kid. So the basic story is, the album is 25 years old or 30 years old now, 30 years old now.
Yeah.
So he's 30, easy to track his age. And he has decided that this is exploitive. And he basically is accusing Nirvana of child porn and suing them for not a crazy amount of money, maybe like $1 million or so. But he's suing like the members of Nirvana, the estate of Kurt Cobain, the record, like he's suing like 7 different people for $150,000 each. So
not his parents. He doesn't want to bring them into it.
Right. Yeah. So, like, okay, listen, I guess you can decide at any point, you can change your mind. Like, you know what? I'm 30. This is crap. He has, when he was 10, when he was 15, when he was 20, like every anniversary, he redoes the pose. Like he does all of the, he redoes the pose. He's redone the pose for 25. Like he because somebody calls him up and goes, "Hey, we're from BCE News in Sacramento. We'd love to do a story about you." Oh, it's the 10th anniversary. Oh, it's the 20th anniversary. So, and this is where Shanna made me think about that. I guess she saw it somewhere, so I went and I found it. And it was good because I found the story that quoted the baby or the boy who's now 30, and it wasn't just speculation, but they'd had an interview with him. So a couple years ago, he invited Nirvana to submit art and have art be in an art gallery that he was running and that he was doing an art show.
Okay.
And nobody from Nirvana got back to him. All right. I mean, and at that point, he lost it. Like, screw those guys. They couldn't come. They couldn't even respond to my request for art. They blew me off. Like, and this is where my sympathy for him kind of went away, because how like much it sucks to be on this album but get no money for it. Because then people think you're rich. Like when you're trying to meet girls and girls are like, "Oh, that's girls assume you're rich." Like it was, huh? Like if I met that guy and he was like, "Oh, I would be like, "Oh, that's cool. How neat is that?" That was it. I wouldn't go, "Dude, he must be rich." I would think, no, he probably got a couple $100 for, his family probably got like a free breadsticks or something for being, because when that album was made, nobody thought, like, again, and this was a quote from the story, like they actually made 42,000 CDs because they had no clue, they were like, we have no idea how well this will do, and then it went on to sell 30 million. That's not anyone's fault. His parents, It's like, it'd be like you getting a phone call tomorrow. You might get a phone call tomorrow and be like, "Oh, hey, this new band called, Jump Around wants to use the Twins on the cover of an album." You'd go, "Okay, who the hell's Jump Around?" And they get, So, so the little baby 30-year-old is suing Nirvana. So good luck, sir. I don't think it's going to work out for you, but good luck.
We wish him the best.
Yes.
We're not haters, but still a little weird. Anyway.
When's the last time you were at Burger King?
So the last time I was at Burger King was, I think like a month or two ago. It was recent. It wasn't too long ago. But here's how I'll segue into our little Burger King spiel. So we wanted to actually, I felt that we owe it to anybody who responded. We'll give them some sort of, we'll acknowledge, right? So let's go that route. And you and I have actually like talked about how Burger King just straight up sucks. Like just awful. I don't know what it is going on service wise, but it's just they haven't been on par in like.
But I can
years.
I want to say the food is solid.
It's that's what I'm saying. So so the burgers, I still feel they're good. I'll still just huff like 2 or 3 down because they're like small and I'm fat, but whatever. So when things were weird during COVID and back in like November, December, when it was like spiking again.
Right.
So my hours got cut, which that was because there was some setbacks with construction and things like that. So I was like, I'm going to DoorDash for a little bit. So I was DoorDashing a couple nights a week or whatever, and Burger King was being ordered all the time, and they always took forever. Like there was times where I would just be like, yeah, I'm not going to take this order just because I know I'm going to lose more money waiting in line than I am actually picking up the $42 order and taking it. And the one time that sticks out is that I pull up, literally like 15 minutes go by. I tell them what order I'm here for. Pull up to the next window. Tell them what order I'm here for. Kid walks away, does like 20 things, comes back literally like 10 minutes later. He goes, hey, what's your order? And I was like, my man, I've been at that window. I've been to this window. I just told you what the order was 10 minutes ago. Here's what it is. I'm not going to ask again. Please give it to me. And that was like that. After that, I was like, I'm not picking up Burger King orders anymore. But I think who your friend who commented it, and I think you and I spoke about this as well. It's just like nobody. It's not efficient at Burger King for whatever reason. Understaffing, the organization, whatever. It just doesn't work. What do you think?
No, and so it comes up. It comes up for us because there is a Burger King in the zip code. And so every once in a while you're like, all right, I'll give Burger King a chance, and no clue. Like it is for I've taught in the zip code for close to 10 years now, or and not one good experience. And the food is always okay. Like I'm saying, like the food is always okay.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I mean, they get the soda wrong, or yeah, we're not taking 5s today. Like, well, like it's just always some weird thing. And it's just funny because every once in a while I'll just be like, all right, there's nowhere around. There's a Burger King right here. And I was laughing, and that's probably why our friend Mike kind of threw it out there, because like a month ago or so, I saw Burger King, and it looked beautiful. It was modern. It had all this fanciness, and yeah. Again, I don't know how the zip code, it's crazy. The zip code one is just like it should be closed. Like it should just not even like any other business would fail with that kind of service. But I don't know what keeps it going in the zip code. So, but yeah, so this Burger King, gorgeous, looks, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be an amazing experience. And everything I said into the microphone, I was like, hey, can I get a large Coke? You want a Dr. Pepper? Like, hey, can I get a Burger King? Can I get a small burger? You want a chicken? It was just hysterical. I was like, she's either making fun of me. So yeah, Burger King. I will tell you, we can do a follow-up one on KFC. KFC is kind of addicting, and when you see a KFC, you're like, oh, I gotta have a KFC, and they always manage to get something wrong too. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but again, listen, this is not to say McDonald's is phenomenal and all these other places, but I'm wondering if the answer to what's up with this is how they run their franchises, like how Chick-fil-A run, how these runs where there's this expectation, so.
Well, I was just going to say, I it's my understanding that McDonald's, Chick-fil-A are some of the more managed franchises, coached better. I've heard that Burger King is like an absolute free-for-all. Like if you own it, that's just yours. Like they just give you like the marketing. So it's like a free-for-all. There's no organization. No one's really checking in on you. It's just like, yeah, you got it, right? Okay, you got the burgers? Cool.
Enjoy. Thank you. Thanks for coming. So, one of our other podcast ideas that we got on our post was from my cousin Liz, who is the happy, proud mother of twins. They are 2 weeks old, 2 weeks and a couple days old.
Woo! Congrats!
So that was one I think we just need to have Liz and her husband. I mean, Dustin, both my cousins. They need to be on a teenage toddlers. They need to be on a twins episode. And
let's do it, twins.
Yeah, because that's yeah, and that's yesterday. They were sitting there. Their house is on the second story, and they live in Ocean City, and like the streets were flooding. Like there were people in canoes, just going down the street. So and I was like, yep, they're up there with the twins, and so yeah, looking. Definitely. We'll definitely talk about back to schools in a little bit. And honestly, she also throwing the U.S. Open. I'm not going to lie, and this is a me thing. The whole Naomi Osaka stuff that happened back in Wimbledon really threw me off tennis for a second. And then like Djokovic's craziness in the Olympics, and usually I'm like watch every second of like the big major tennis things, but
yeah,
maybe I'll get back into it. All right. Back to school. What if? Faith brought up What If. I haven't watched an episode yet.
You haven't watched any of them?
No.
Oh, man. The third episode, that's one where you're going to get sucked in. That's the one where actually you may have seen that they said, What If takes a darker turn.
Oh, okay, I did see that.
It's definitely a bit darker, and at the end, you're kind of like, what?
Right,
that is awesome.
I think over the next few, once I get my school anxiety under control, Wednesday and Thursday for me, I know half the country's already been back to school for a couple of weeks. It's interesting now, because with a teenager and a toddler and twins, back to school anxiety, and with a teacher wife, back to school anxiety is going to be part of your life for the next 18 years. So,
goodness, yeah. I'm gonna be like, hey, sorry, I gotta work. I gotta work a lot today. I gotta work.
Every September, I know what to do. I'm gonna tell you,
just that's what they super busy.
Labor Day, Made in America. That's what Made in America concert. Everyone's trying to do something. Sorry.
Actually, that's a blackout weekend. Like no one can have off. Monica was very disappointed because I think that's like 4 days for everybody in your end in the zip code.
So Shanna and I are going because we can't afford Ryan's hotel. So the cheapest, and I think most of you know, and I'm not saying anything out of turn. Like I get a really nice employee hookup. So with the employee hookup, there are no like October 13th. It's $200. Other than that, I also feel so. As Monica says, it's on account of Ryan Blackout Weekend. I feel like there's probably a Monica Blackout Weekend, and when like her girls' weekends also might be called the
Blackout Weekend.
The Blackout Weekend. Sorry. So we are heading into Philly to stay at Le Meridian on Sunday into Monday, and then it hit me because Ruth Reed, the famous Ruth Reed, today asked me about going over to the Made in America concert this weekend, and which is in that area. And I guess I was like, I guess there's plenty of availability in the hotels in the area, so I guess it's not. Maybe people just go to the concerts. And
was there availability when you're booking? I'm curious.
There was. So, but it would have cost $425 to stay at W this weekend. So I was like, all right, all right. I mean, it sounds cool, and I will definitely. And if you're working, I was going to say, if you work on Monday at all, maybe we'll visit. But
I'll be there.
All right,
I'll be there all weekend. Come say hi.
All right. So I forget where it's going with that. Oh, back to school anxiety. So yeah, I'm going to decompress. Back to school anxiety has just been for everyone. It's the same thing for the last, with the uncertainty. You just don't know. So
yeah, it's a lot of what if.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So which we will watch. We will watch soon. So yeah. Actually, you know what? I would say that Monica is probably doesn't have the blackout weekend because ever since she's been a mom, she's probably like, I need to stay at like brownout in case I need to go into mom mode. I bet you that's a guarantee. Yeah.
She's like, I need to keep it medium.
Yeah, I need to keep it medium.
Go full blackout.
Yeah. Whereas Ryan would be like, I'm going. You got it. Mom's got it. I'm good.
I gotta go to work.
All right. So there were some other topics, of course, that were coming up. Food banking, which we are going to do a whole show on food banking.
Shanna, if you're listening,
yeah,
waiting
Shanna,
on you, girlfriend.
we'll
Love
definitely
you.
do that. We have had discussion if kids can learn out in nature, can children actually learn in a classroom like found in nature? And that is a big question. Like, it depends, I guess, on what you're teaching them. If you're just teaching them about nature in nature's classroom, yeah. But if you're trying to teach them like multiplication in nature's classroom, what do you do?
Distracting.
So, yeah, you would think it was distracting.
Like, yeah.
I will be honest, I don't know what you teach in nature's classroom other than, I guess, about nature. Science-y stuff? I don't know. So, if any of
That
our
just goes
listeners...
to show how outdoorsy we are.
Yeah, no, yeah, right.
I'm not.
No, go nowhere near outdoorsy. So, I'm going to jump to the last topic. Our kind of Ryan and I have been having a couple free-for-all weeks here in a row because... Ryan's been crazy with the W. It was nice when like nothing was happening, and we were like, all right, we can do a whole topic on this, and I'll do 8 hours of research. So I've enjoyed our.
That's what I was thinking about, was that my cousin Emma, but we'd have to have her on.
Yeah,
she'd definitely love to come on.
We do. I know one of my coworkers also used to do a nature's classroom. A couple of our friends, so we could have a whole nature's classroom podcast.
Outside.
2023. So Ryan and I were kind of just chatting yesterday, like, what do you want to talk about? And Ryan has a great topic that we definitely need to do of movies and music. Again, if I say Titanic music, you're going to say Celine Dion.
Right.
There's just
Batman
different,
Forever, Kiss from a Rose.
Kiss from a Rose, Batman.
Kiss from a Rose. Kiss from a Rose.
Right. You hear the Eye of the Tiger, it's a Rocky movie, you hear the Rocky theme, you hear the Star Wars theme.
Danger Zone, Top Gun.
Danger Zone. So we'll definitely talk about that one day, because that's a fun one. But while we're talking and I'm thinking about it, as I'm of course scrolling through Twitter, I see a post saying, holy crap, like, wow, 2022 is going to be insane. And there's a list of some, of like the more pop cultural movies that are coming out in 2022. Yeah. And Ryan, I thought what might be a fun idea is if we take turns kind of like naming and this is for our audience to do in the chat too. I practiced this with Shanna, and so I don't know what that is.
I'm getting warmed up.
Oh, I was going to say Creed, because I took Creed 3 off the list. So what I'll do is I'll say the name of the movie, and then we say how excited we are. I was doing a scale of 1 to 5, but then every single comic movie was a 5. So I think we'll do it on a scale of 1 to 10. That way we have a little wiggle room. And we'll say
I'm pulling it up since I can't screen share.
Yep. And we'll say how excited we are. So that's the thing. I wonder if you just screen shared a picture. I think it's the videos. I think
I'm
when it's
scared now.
Yeah. All right. Don't be. Yeah. All right. So we will start with Ryan's. I don't want to say this is a no-brainer for you, and this is not necessarily in the order they're coming out. All right. So those of you listening, and we know there's a little delay, you're going to hear this 20 seconds after I say it. So Ryan and I will be talking about it. Put into the chat what from 1 to 10, your expectations or excitement for the 2022 movie is. The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson and a bunch of other people. The Batman, a more serious, darker take of Batman, more artsy. All right, Ryan, what do you think? 1 to 10, how excited are you?
I am 10, and I'm just going to give the reasons why, because that's what we're here to do. The second I heard that Matt Reeves was going to do it, I was like 50-50, because I loved his version of Planet of the Apes. I love him as a director. I think that it's very impressive when you can take something that's been done and then remodel it to be something else, stand on its own, which he did with Caesar and Planet of the Apes. Great job. But the 50-50 was because I was also very excited to see Ben Affleck direct, star, and do the Batman. But yeah, Matt Reeves, after everything they went through, remember it was maybe going to be Ben Affleck, and then that got cut. Matt Reeves walked away, came back, a whole bunch of drama with the movie. Jeffrey Wright, Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz. Oh my God, what's his name? The Riddler. I'm super excited for him to be in it. But 10, looking forward to see what they can do. Oh, and Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell any day of the week. So 10 for me. Not just because it's Batman. Lots of like reasoning behind it.
I am in the 7 to 8. Yeah, I'm a little nervous. So
I think that's fair.
Paul Dano, yeah,
Paul Dano, yes.
Who, if you don't recognize the name when you see him, you will know his deal. All right.
Monica gives us, or I'm sorry, Tim's a 7.
Monica's an
8 because she still needs to be convinced about Pattinson. What she said off the record was she thinks he's too skinny for the role. So let's see how he shows up.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's do some. I'm going to try to do some out of order here, Ryan, just so we can get through some that I think are going to be quick for us to discuss. Halloween ends. Well, listen, I've heard this before. Halloween was coming to an end, so I think that this will probably be the last, like, Jamie Lee Curtis, like the end of this family and what they've done with that. So, that's a 2 or 3 for me. I'm just not a horror person, which I will probably contradict myself in the next statement. So, Halloween ends. Any interest for you?
Halloween ends a solid 6. I took Alexis to see it, or the last one.
Right.
Not terrible. My only complaint to Alexis and anybody else that brings it up is, and you and I are probably on the same page. It feels a little more real. It feels a little more serious. He breaks out. Why don't we call a SWAT team? Why don't we call a Spec Ops team? We know what he's capable of. Nope, we still just send in the overweight sheriff's deputy and not take it seriously and people get killed. That's the part that bugs me.
That sure. Right, but again, you watched. I remember a couple years ago watching it and be like, all right, finally they're doing it right, and it's like, no, they didn't. So Scream 5, which Scream is more puts a little more fun into it, so I'm not as scared. I did not realize the Scream 4 had come out, so I was a little thrown off by that too. Yeah, but Scream 5, again, 4. Like, again, I will not go pay for it in the theater, and again, I probably wouldn't watch it if it was free on HBO Max. But so no real interest in Scream 5 for me.
Yeah, that's like a 1 for me. That's going to be a 1 for me, dog.
Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh, you go first because I have a tale about this one.
Yeah, please go. So I've watched the first of the new Jurassic Parks, and I did not see the second one. So yeah, it's a 5. I'm just not. But again, if I went up watching the 2, maybe I'll get a little more excited for it. But it's a 5 for me. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a 7 for me, and the only reason is because I am a huge Spielberg Lost World fan. Love the movies. I had dinosaur toys. I had all the toys. Love the story. Jurassic World. Ask Monica. I left very disappointed. I just didn't feel like the story was as smart as like Michael Crichton and a few other things, or the stories that had taken place. Then when Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was coming out, they set up a website, like a fake website, and they were talking about InGen, and they were talking about BD Wong's character, and they were basically saying that they had been that the government had tried to prosecute them for everything that happened on the island. And in my head, I was like, okay, this is kind of like a Resident Evil Aliens, corporate greed kind of thing. But then it turned into a guy had a falling out with John Hammond, and he tried to clone his daughter, and it didn't really make a lot of Jurassic sense to me.
Right.
So we have the original cast members back for Jurassic World Dominion. It's the last one. I'm gonna give it a chance. Solid 7, 8 for me for Dominion.
Okay. I was thinking about your Halloween line where you're like, all right, the SWAT team should be coming, and everyone should be coming. Again, no one should allow the Jurassic Parks to ever happen. Like, one, you're like, oh no, like, but man, I'm not gonna lie to you. If we saw a news story tomorrow that said, a billionaire working on a park with dinosaurs, we'd be like, oh, wonder what that would be like. Yeah, like, I can get a ticket for $500 to go. Oh, maybe I'll go. Like, yeah, it's crazy. So
it can't be like the movie. I'm sure
it can't be like no, they would not. They would not. They would do better than that. All right, so I'll get 2 off the. I guess I can just Mission Impossible 7, John Wick 4. Like, I think they're going to do fine, and I'm several Mission Impossibles behind. So Which again, only reason I ever caught up in the Fast and Furious is because USA was doing like entire weekends of them. So whoever has Mission Impossible, get out there and do a marathon. Only reason I ever caught up on James Bond, so is because you do these marathons and you catch these marathons. So for both Mission Impossible and the other movie I said, John Wick, yeah, just minimal interest for me. So
Mission Impossible, what is it, 7? 6
7.
for me?
7,
Mission Impossible 7. It's a 10 for me. I loved Mission Impossible 6. Alexis wanted to see a movie on a random summer night when it was out. We went to go see it. I was extremely impressed with all of it, like the story, the action, Cavill's role in it, Tom Cruise. And it's the first one, remember, it was like very spy-y. And the second one, it was John Woo, and there were sunglasses, and there were explosions and motorcycles, and it like kept that tone. I'm always very impressed with it. People tend to disagree with me, but I always say that Tom Cruise is the greatest action star alive. People will be like, "What are you talking about?" And I'll be like, "Well, he strapped himself to an airplane. He halo jumped out of the back of an airplane. Like, he's pretty committed to the action and doing his own stunts." John Wick, solid 10. Love the stories, love the action, love the whole underworld, love the spinoffs that are coming. 3, I thought was like an 8. So I'm hoping they can pick John Wick 4 back up to like a 10. That's why I need it to happen. I can't. It's like here. I need it to go here right now.
Hopefully we can get there. All right. Let's just get there. Doctor Strange 2. So that's 11, 12 for me. Doctor Strange. This is what we've been building for since WandaVision. Clearly, the Spider-Man trailer, that should have been in the news too. The Spider-Man trailer dropped an hour after we were done last week's show. And it was phenomenal. It was a lot of controversy. There are a lot of people upset. We'll talk more about that next time. But yeah, like, I'm excited for the multiverse. Like as Tim just says, it's a 10, 11, 12 for me, because I think that's really going to tie together everything and kind of push us towards our next set of stories in the Marvel Universe. A lot of it will be hinted at in Spider-Man in December. So super excited about Doctor Strange.
10 for me. I think that it was long overdue. Obviously, there's some plot points and reasons why. But I also just feel like the movie itself doesn't get the credit it deserves. Doctor Strange isn't like that in your face, flipping backwards, mecha suit kind of superhero. So maybe people don't really, or gravitate towards him for that reason. That's just me. But I just feel like Strange doesn't get the credit he deserves, period. Right. I love the first film, so definitely excited to see how. And it sounds like everything's tied in, right? It sounds like Loki's tied in. It sounds like WandaVision's tied in. Yep. So we'll see what happens.
And I'm just going to do it now because to save us some time. But Thor 2, Black Panther 2, The Marvels, and Into the Spider-Verse 2 are also all coming out for Marvel this year. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything. The Marvels, Black Panther 2, Thor 4, and Into the Spider-Verse 2 are all coming out. Honestly, the Marvels, I'm curious about. It'll have Photon or Captain Marvel. It'll have Monica from WandaVision will be in it as her new superpowers. Captain Marvel will be in it, Brie Larson, and it will have Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, who we will at some point be introduced to in one of these movies, who is a local girl from Jersey City. I mean, the actual, the fake character, not the actress. I don't know where the actress is from, but Kamala Khan's from, up there in Jersey. So it has potential. We will see. Obviously, the excitement for all these will build when we see if they're in like the end credit scenes and stuff like that. Black Panther 2, you can't get any, maybe rent out a theater if that's still a thing. Like easily rent out the theater for that. Thor 3 was so funny. I'm so hoping the same thing. So all the Marvel stuff, I'm super. And then Into the Spider-Verse, like what I'm so crazy excited for is, will they acknowledge the Marvel Universe and include, like, will it play, or is this, or are they going to keep it as its own story? But I mean, it needs all the credit, its success. I think, all of these stories, again, not to make us go on too long, but because I can talk enough about this. Unless you ask me to talk about it, and then I'll be like, I don't know what an answer for you. All of these stories exist because comic books were written 50 years ago, 40 years ago. Like, they're all stories, So this multiverse concept, DC has been doing since the 50s, and every single month Superman would be like, it would kind of be like, you'd read this story and be like, what if Superman had grown, had woken up on the wrong side of the bed? And it would be this whole story about how they did stories like that nonstop. And, so they were doing it before What If, before Elseworlds, before everything. So this idea of all these other universes has always been a huge deal in comic books. But I think the success of Into the Spider-Verse was they were just like, oh yeah, no, it can be done. All right, let's do this with real people. Yeah. With that, I'm going to jump and be excited for The Flash, because The Flash will be a multiverse story. It will be The Flash going to many different, however they do it. So we're going to see an Affleck Batman. We're going to see a Michael Keaton Batman. Thank you. So that is a 10. That's,
that's
and then it's
totally
funny.
A 10.
Yeah. When Shannon was looking at the list earlier, she was like, yeah, I don't really know Flash. I'm like, oh no, you know Flash. This is the, Ezra, and then she was excited because she was like, oh, like that, because she loves, I think his name's Ezra.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah. So she's like, yeah. And Ezra Miller is so good. So super 10 for Flash for me.
Yeah, definitely 10 in Flash for me too. And I'll never forget you commenting when I posted the picture, and I agree with you 100%. Very simple when you said this could be very special, and it could be. Don't screw it up. Like, Keaton was 91, 92 we last saw him in the suit.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Come on, like, and don't screw it up. Come on.
Yeah. No, I mean, really, just. But again, like, go sit down and watch Into the Spider-Verse. Just watch how you do it. Like, watch how or read a comic book and just have fun. So, Aquaman 2 is coming out. Shanna gave that an instant 10, but I think that was more about Jason Momoa. She gave it a 10. So DC Super Bets. I left off the list on purpose because I have no clue what DC Super Bets is going to be. I don't know if it's a cartoon. But yes, it absolutely seems like a crash grab, or maybe something that goes right to HBO Max. There's
Superman.
I'm sorry?
Isn't Dwayne Johnson like Superdog or something?
Oh, is he? I don't know.
I think
he will be playing Black Adam that comes out this year. So that is one that I would say it's a 7 or 8. Again, it's people don't know that much about Black Adam, but I think The Rock is pretty good. So I think
you have two sets of twins where you can use them as an excuse to watch it now, so you're good.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, The Rock is crypto.
Okay. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. So again, I mean, it's an interesting enough thing. We will see. All right. Let's see what I'm forgetting. I know I'm leaving. Something. Indiana Jones 5. Can we talk about that for a second?
2.
I should have left somebody for
1, maybe.
Yeah. Again, you don't. And Ryan has posted these before. Not a week goes by where like Arnold's might be back for Terminator. Stallone to maybe do this. Like. All right, guys. Like, and that's what I'm feeling about. Like, if Harrison Ford isn't Indiana Jones, like. He should just be sitting in it like this. He should be doing a podcast, and then that's how like he's and his like But I'm saying a lot.
Podcast voice ever.
Right.
He'd be against the microphone like this, talking like Harrison Ford.
Yeah, and what Tim brings up.
It was so bad.
Right. So before Rocky Balboa and the Creed movies, Rocky was a punchline. Rocky was a punchline because it was like, oh, Rocky 7, and they would make jokes about it because Rocky 4, even though I think it's one of the greatest music videos ever made because it's just song after song to like fighting montages. Like we used to watch Rocky 4. We'd watch Rocky before cross country meets. We'd watch it like to get pumped up. Great, And then Rocky 5 was a horrendous movie. Like they tried to be serious with it and it didn't work. Whereas Rocky Balboa, like when he got, but you can't do Indiana Jones 5 like Creed or Rocky Balboa and be like, hey, it needs to be like loud, like you said, you're in love with Spielberg. It needs to be loud music and cars racing over cliffs and bikes just, and snakes and airplanes and Harrison Ford just can't. I mean, again, Stallone and Schwarzenegger look decent.
They look pretty good, yeah.
Harrison does not look like he can jump, But again, I don't, I don't really like. I don't want to see Schwarzenegger as a bad Terminator. Like, he should not have aged. Like, he aged. Like, and so
you should. You made me think. Like, maybe they could like do like an opening scene with Indy where like Stallone style, where he's just in the backyard with his whip, like.
Yeah, right. Just
getting warmed up. Right. Just like his hat somewhere, he just like throws it just to like keep his bones going.
And then some guy comes up and is like, "Hey, yeah, my dad was the Nazi you beat in the first movie. I want to make up for everything he did. Like, I'll help you. Train me. So." Creed 3 is supposed to come out in 2022. I'm a huge fan of both Creed movies. I really like what they did there, but. And I think it's supposed to be the first movie without Rocky. So I don't know where he goes from here. I don't know where he fights. And that's what you get into with this, where you his boxing career should, but he's a lighter guy, that MBJ. So,
he's going to direct it.
And he's going to direct it. So let him have fun. Yeah. Again, that's however many movies we just said. There are more. There are, jumping through. There's yeah, it's a lot. It's funny. It's a lot because it used to feel like you would just get 2 comic book movies a year, and now like there's one every other week. Batman, Doctor Strange, Flash, The Marvels, Aquaman, Black Panther, Thor, Into the Spider-Verse, DC Super Pets. So, and again, we're just talking about the movies. They will throw in, Loki 2. They will throw in other things on the TV end of it. So we are, we got to get, but here's the thing. This was fun to talk about, but we got to get through 2021.
We got to get through 2021. We got to stop getting movies pushed back and without starting a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
That's what Bob Chapek meant. He's like, we have to make a decision, which I agree. And it's not an easy decision, right? It's like,
and you're going to make no one happy.
No one's going to be happy. Right. Yeah.
And again, that's why when the actor who plays Shang-Chi was complaining, because it's like, so you're gonna why couldn't you do this experiment with Cruella? why couldn't you do this experiment with Jungle? You're choosing us to do it with. So, and again, I'm sure there was a part of that's a business decision of, if it succeeds, we can be like, look at the Marvel Disney machine. If it fails, we'd be like, well, it's unknown actors and it's a character that a lot of people don't know, but again,
it's almost like they got sued at some point.
It's almost like they got sued and they're like, all right, we're just sorry, guys. We have a bad taste in our mouth. Scarlett messed it up for all of you. Be pissed at her. I mean, listen, the key here is Eternals and Shang-Chi have that same thing of like, who are you? Like, who are you? What is your deal? Yeah. I just noticed, because it's only been happening for the last week, they've added Cap, Iron Man, like Thor, to the beginning of Shang-Chi's commercials.
Okay.
It's like, in a world with these heroes, a new one emerges. It's like,
all right.
All right. I see. Yeah. You probably felt like you needed to do that because again, like, this empire, this massive thing does not exist solely off of the back of comic book nerds. Because the back of comic book nerds would barely keep you around. They needed. They got the world. Tony Stark got the rest of the world to come watch these Marvel movies. Robert Downey Jr. rather, and But again, that's the thing. They're not super fans. They're not sitting there like dying. Like they're just like. So yeah, they need to kind of be led. Like, oh no, you didn't realize that this was an actual like part of the universe. You need to watch it. So.
Yeah, there's tons of like newcomers and then tons of like Ryans, if you will, which again, I'll always say it, Amani said it and I think it's fair and I think it's accurate. And he put it into perspective for me is that, you and Amani are comic book fans. I'm a comic book fan, but in the different aspect where it's like, I can't link it. I haven't read as many comic books if you have, you know what I mean? And that's, I think, a huge part of the new following generation. It's like, I had to look up Shang-Chi. I was like, who's this guy?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why.
Yeah. That's why Tim always, we will come So we will have to talk in the middle of the
Okay.
week, Tim, to see. I'm thinking maybe like see it early, like before anyone's in the theater this week, Tim. Shannon wants to go to the beach Friday or Saturday, so whichever day she doesn't want to go to the beach, maybe we can go see Shang-Chi. Yeah, it's a new feature on our podcast called Richard and Tim Make Plans. And we could talk another hour of this. We will talk soon about the societal role of heavier, hairier men. It comes up. A lot of Italian men who are generally hairy but not up here and heavier are we viewed differently? Does society expect something from us? Like, oh, hey, you must know how to cook. Like, yeah, I can cook. I can cook. I choose not to. Are we safe?
Change my tire?
Yeah, I could change your tire.
Yeah.
You check the nuts though. Check them real quick because I don't know.
Check the lug nuts.
Yeah, check the lug nuts. I mean, do you have one of those where you have that little key?
I have
one's locked.
Small story. I used to.
But then
Monica took my car one day, threw it out. I got a flat tire on 985. I was there for 3 hours. She had to go to the dealership, ask them to borrow their keys because it's a different key for every tire. So,
oh wow,
it's an episode. So if you're listening, that's the moral of the story. Don't use the key to your lug nuts.
Listen, less people can steal your tires, but yeah, when you're trying to change it yourself, you can't. So. Yeah. So again, another podcast idea. We definitely will talk about what it's like to be a bigger man in America. You know, the people expect you either to cook, be a comedian,
aggressive,
Tony
Soprano, like
right, or a big cuddly bear. Yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy of what's out there. But we're just human beings like the rest of you. All right, we put our oversized socks on one leg at a time, and we make noises while we do it. We go, ugh. So, that's the only difference. We just make a little more noises when we do things. We throw our backs out. We do it. It's not hard. We throw our backs out, literally doing nothing. Yep. Yes. We could have Tim Maria, Travis. We could have all of our larger friends who throw our backs out doing nothing. Have you done that yet, Ryan? Or you're not quite there?
So I definitely breathe like Darth Vader just in general. I don't know what the deal is, but I haven't thrown my back out yet.
Listen, you knock on wood, but were you at 32 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 35, 36. All right. That you're going to be in the shower. It's not even like you're like, oh, I was picking up a picnic bench and I did it. You will be doing nothing.
I was deadlifting 305
right. Like, okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. At least for me, and those listening, like I've never heard of a story of because again, like I will lift up heavy things, I will lift up more than I can, and it will twinge my back. It'll hurt a little bit, but when I have to lay in bed for 3 days and I have to take muscle relaxers to walk, like that's I sneezed in the shower. Oh, I stepped off the bed wrong. Like it is, yep. So
that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
When all of you come on, you and your guest panel, the intro has to be like a.
Right, exactly. Right. So, all right. Thanks for having me on your show this week, Brian.
No, it's our show. And just so everybody's listening, bye week next week because of Made in America tour and Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, it's blackout. It's a blackout weekend. Monica called it. So blackout
Monday, weekend. So. We can't do it. So the following week, we'll be back in 2 weeks, ladies.
And we have off Tuesday. We have off on Tuesday, Monica, so we can actually have it be a blackout Monday. So.
Oh, who's it? It's Margaret. Lindsay says,
yeah.
I've sneezed and thrown my back.
Yeah, it's the worst. Because again, you want it to be a story of like, oh, I was lifting a car off of a baby,
a family,
right? And then my back hurt. Yeah, nope. It's like, yeah, I stepped wrong. Yeah, and I will tell you, I don't think we have to. Like, I am hysterical because I have to go to work and I walk and like the little pain shoots up your back, and so, yep, yep. I had a friend who hurt his back recently, and like he said, it brought him to tears. It brought him to tears how badly it felt. So. Good times.
I'm going to do my best not to, but one day I'm going to sneeze and it's going to be the wrong direction.
It's going to be the wrong. You're just like, that's what I say. But yes. So don't sneeze. Enjoy. And we will see each other on September 12th.
We'll see each other on September 12th.
Hopefully it's the Shang-Chi's.
Yes, the Shang-Chi.
If it's not a full review, at least we'll talk about how well it's done. So
I got to see it too. But September 12th, I will also have a 16-year-old in this family.
Wow.
As of September 10th, so we'll have a lot to talk about when we get back.
Awesome. All right. Enjoy, everyone. Have a great week.
We'll see
Enjoy
everybody
school.
later. Bye bye.
Bye. I don't know.